A very good morning to you, or a very good day to you, whatever time of day you happen to be watching this video, which is Nottage General Baptist and Unitarian Chapel's service of worship for Sunday the 2nd of August 2020. And we begin our worship with some words by Eric Williams, a prayer called "Let us bless the earth." Let us bless the earth and all that is steady and firm. Let us bless the sky and all that is open and filled with light. Let us bless their union, holy and without ceasing. Let us bless their children, the bounty of field and forest, stones, plants, animals, and all living things. May the gifts of the earth and sky strengthen, refresh, nourish, and heal the peoples of the earth. Amen. And the reading I have chosen for today's service is from the apocryphal book of the Wisdom of Sirach. I say apocryphal, it is in the Protestant tradition, whereas in the Roman Catholic tradition it is part of the canon of their Bible. And it's from the New Revised Standard Version, the Catholic edition. And it's the 38th chapter, verses 25 to 34. How can one become wise who handles the plough, and who glories in the shaft of a goad, who drives oxen and is occupied with their work, and whose talk is about bulls? He sets his heart on ploughing furrows, and he is careful about fodder for the heifers. So it is with every artisan and master artisan, who labours by night and day. Those who cut the signets of seals. Each is diligent in making a great variety. They set their heart on painting a lifelike image, and they are careful to finish their work. So it is with the smith sitting by the anvil, intent on his ironwork. The breath of the fire melts his flesh, and he struggles with the heat of the furnace. The sound of the hammer deafens his ears, and his eyes are on the pattern of the object. He sets his heart on finishing his handiwork, and he is careful to complete its decoration. So it is with the potter sitting at his work and turning the wheel by his feet. He is always deeply concerned over his products, and he produces them in quantity. He moulds the clay with his arm and makes it pliable with his feet. He sets his heart on finishing the glazing, and he takes care firing in the kiln. All these rely on their hands and are all skillful in their own work. Without them, no city can be inhabited, and wherever they live, they will not go hungry. Yet they are not sought for the counsel of the people, nor do they attain eminence in the public assembly. They do not sit in the judge's seat, nor do they understand the decisions of the court. They cannot expound discipline or judgment, and they are not found among the rulers. But they maintain the fabric of the world, and their concern is for the exercise of their trade. How different the one who devotes himself to the study of the law of the Most High. That ends our reading from the Wisdom of Sirach. Now, the reason I chose that particular reading was that yesterday, which is Saturday the 1st of August 2020, for those of you who are watching this at some point in the future, was the festival of Lammas, which is known by the Celtic peoples of Ireland, Scotland and the Isle of Man as Lunesa, and by people in my native Wales as Calan Awst. At this point in the cycle of the seasons, we know that the harvest is just around the corner. Apples are beginning to ripen on the trees. I had to stop my dog from trying to eat some earlier today when I took him for a walk. And the vegetables that many of us will have planted in our gardens are ready for picking. My wife planted some vegetables and she has been picking her courgettes, and the tomatoes are just not ready quite yet, but very soon will be. Because now is the time to begin reaping what we have sown and gathering up the first harvest. The English word for the festival of Lammas derives from a Saxon phrase that translates into modern day English as loaf mass. That is the mass celebrating the season's first loaf of bread. And in early Christian days, the church blessed the first loaves of the season. Of course, in our modern world, it's easy to forget the hardships our ancestors endured. If we were to run out of bread, we could simply pop out down to the local convenience store for a loaf of neatly packaged sliced white. But when our ancestors lived, and not necessarily all that long ago, some of us may remember with grandparents and great-grandparents, the harvesting and the processing of grain was crucial for survival through the winter months. If crops were left in the field too long, or the bread was not baked in time, whole families could starve. Taking care of the crops literally meant the difference between life and death. In those times, it was a bad idea to harvest your grain any time before Lammas. It meant that the previous year's harvest had run out early, which was a serious failing in agricultural communities. However, on August the 1st, the farmer would cut the first sheaves of grain. And by nightfall, the farmer's wife would have made the first loaves of the season. I'd like to take us back into the past for a moment. The year is 1100. The date is August the 1st. The monks of Gloucester Abbey are celebrating the holy day of St. Peter in chains. One of the monks wakes up from a rather strange dream in which God promises to strike down the wicked king who has abused the Holy Church. The abbot of the monastery, on hearing of the dreams, sends a warning to the king, King William the Red, who has oppressed all England with taxes and disgusted many of the population with his debauchery and his blasphemy. King William receives the message the following day, whilst preparing to indulge in his favourite sport of hunting in the New Forest. Although there are no longer any people dwelling in the New Forest, they were all cleared out by Red's father, William the Conqueror. There are rumours that the forest is a hotbed for pagan activity and pagan worship. And August the 2nd is an important pagan holy day. The Saxons call it Lammas, or the Loaf Mass. King William the Red laughs at the warning from the abbot and continues to go out hunting. But a short time later, he's dead, struck in the chest by a stray arrow. And his brother Henry, who was part of the hunting party, is riding hotfoot for Winchester to be crowned king. Now, some people say that William the Red was a Lammas sacrifice, that having made a wasteland of his kingdom, he was killed as a sacrifice to bring new life to the land. And some people say that his brother Henry had him assassinated. And some people say that both parts of the story are true. The tale of sacrifice and hunting, a dying king and a wasted land, embodies many of the dominant themes of the Festival of Lammas. The Celtic peoples celebrated this festival from sunset on August the 1st until sunset on August the 2nd. And as I said, they call it Lunessa, after the Celtic god Lugh. It is the burial wake of Lugh, the Sun King, whose light begins to dwindle after the summer solstice. The Saxon festival of Lammas, the Loaf Mass, overlaid onto the earlier Celtic celebration of Lunessa, celebrates the harvesting of the grain. The first sheaf of wheat is ceremonially reaped, threshed, milled and baked into a loaf. The grain dies so that the people may live. Eating this bread, the bread of the gods, gives us life. If all this sounds vaguely Christian, it is. In the sacrament of communion, bread is blessed, is said to become the body of God, and is eaten to nourish the faithful. The Christian mystery echoes the pagan mystery of the grain god. Grain has always been associated with the gods who are killed and dismembered and then resurrected from the underworld by goddesses or gods like Tammuz, Osiris and Adonis. The story of Demeter and Persephone is a story about the cycle of death and rebirth associated with grain. Demeter, the fertility goddess, will not allow anything to grow until she finds her daughter who has been carried off into the underworld. The Eleusinian mysteries, celebrated around the autumn equinox, culminated in the revelation of a single ear of corn, a symbol to the initiate of the cyclical nature of life. For the corn is both seed and fruit, promise and fulfillment. Without the harvest, people will die. By recognizing the celebration of Lammas, we honour both our ancestors and the hard work they did in order to survive. And we also honour the earth for her bounty. This is a good time to give thanks for the abundance we have in our lives and to be grateful for the food we can put on our tables. Lammas is a time of transformation, of rebirth and new beginnings. Thank you for listening, and Amen. Would you now join me in a period of prayer in the form of a liturgy for Lammas? The earth is God's, and all that is upon it, created and creative things, fruit and fruitfulness, springtime and summer, seed time and harvest. For the promise of harvest contained within a seed, we give thanks. For the oak tree within an acorn, the bread within a grain, the apple within a pip, the mystery of nature gift-wrapped for us to sow, we give thanks. The Hebrew scriptures say, as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. We see signs of summer's passing in golden leaves appearing on the trees, shortening days, misty mornings, and autumn glow. We sense summer's passing in the rain that dampens, the winds that chill, the first harvest's bounty placed on show. Creator God, who brings forth both green shoots and hoarfrost, sunrise and sunset, we bring our thanks for seeds that have grown, harvests gathered, storehouses filled, mouths fed. And as your good earth rests through the winter's cold embrace, we look forward to its reawakening when kissed by spring's first touch. The Russian monk Seraphim of Sarov wrote these words: sow everywhere the good seed given to you. Sow in good ground, sow in sand, sow among the stones, sow on the road, sow among the weeds. Perhaps some of these seeds will open up and grow and bring forth fruit, even if not at once. And these words are by John Muir. Climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as the sunshine flows into trees. The winds will blow their own freshness into you, and the storms their energy, while cares will drop off like autumn leaves. We now spend a period of silent prayer, bringing to our thoughts all the areas of the world where harvests are uncertain because of droughts or warfare or other human intervention. Loving God, for summer's passing and harvest home, we give thanks. For seed that has fallen and the promise of the spring, we give thanks. We bless you, God of seed and harvest, and we bless each other, that the beauty of this world and the love that created it might be expressed through our lives and be a blessing to others, now and always. Amen. Well, as I have said for the last, I've lost count, 19 weeks, we are getting closer to being in a position where we can reopen for face-to-face worship at Nottage Chapel. It's not quite yet, but we are getting there, and I will of course keep you updated as to when that will be and what the arrangements will be for the new normal. But in the meantime, as I've always said, if you do need any assistance in whatever way, whether it be practical or pastoral, then please do contact us via the Facebook page, the website, my email address, which is nottage.minister@gmail.com. And we will do whatever we can to help you, or if necessary, pass you on or pass your details on to somebody who is able to help. So thank you for joining today's service, and we bring this service to a close with some words of benediction. Friends, there is a power at work in the universe. It works through human hands, but human hands did not make it. It is a creative, sustaining, and transforming power, and we can trust that power with our lives. It will sustain us whenever we take a stand on the side of love, whenever we take a stand for peace and justice, whenever we take a risk. Trust in that power, for it is what holds us together. Amen. And God bless you all.